What happens when one of Hollywood's most beloved power couples, the king and queen of likability, gets pulled into a scandal that could dismantle their carefully crafted empire? Because right now, Ryan Reynolds, yes, the same Ryan who turned gin, phones, and ads into gold, is facing a lawsuit that might shatter more than just his latest business venture. And the worst part? It's not just legal trouble. It's an accusation of stealing someone else's invention and selling it to millions, while pretending it was his. And yeah, Blake Lively is in this story too, because when your brand is tied to your marriage, the fallout doesn't stop at the boardroom. Hey besties, I'm Sabrina and you're watching TLC Plathville News. Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button and drop a comment, because I need to know your thoughts on this one. So here's what's going on. Ryan Reynolds' company, MNTN Inc., just got slapped with a massive federal lawsuit from a firm that's suing the biggest tech companies on Earth for the exact same reason. We're talking allegations of willful patent theft, misleading investors, and even faking innovation. The company allegedly copied patented ad tracking tech, then went public claiming it was their own. And while major news outlets still haven't touched this story, the court documents are public, the lawsuit is real, and the implications could be devastating. Because if what they're saying is true, this isn't just about Ryan's company going bust. It's about everything he's built. Every viral ad, every investor pitch, every campaign that made us think, wow, this guy's a genius. Well, what if all of that was built off of a stolen foundation? Grab a drink because this one gets messy. Let's be honest. Ryan Reynolds is the kind of celebrity who never felt like a typical Hollywood star. He's sarcastic but genuinely likable. He turns every press interview into a viral meme. People trust him. Not just as an actor, but almost like a friend who makes really good business choices. And that's exactly how Ryan built his empire. After turning heads as Deadpool, he began quietly working behind the scenes, placing his name and his charm behind everyday products. First, aviation gin. He didn't just endorse it, he co-owned it, appeared in the commercials, made fun of himself in the ads. It worked. The company sold for over $600 million and everyone called him a branding genius. Then came Mint Mobile. Same deal. Relatable ads, real humor, more viral campaigns. And in 2023, that company got acquired by T-Mobile in a deal valued at $135 billion. So by the time MNTN entered the chat, an ad tech company promising a future of performance TV, it wasn't hard for people to buy in. If Ryan loved it, it had to be legit, right? And then layer on his wife, Blake Lively, a total fan favorite, smart, stylish, never involved in drama. Together, Blake and Ryan represent something no one wants to see fail. A beautiful family, a clean public image, and two people who seem entirely in control of their world. That image alone has raised millions for every product they've promoted. In early campaigns for MNTN, Ryan was everywhere pitching the product like it was the next revolution in digital marketing. In a 2021 interview with Adweek, he said creativity had been forgotten in performance marketing, and this platform was going to change that. Investors listened. So did advertisers. MNTN quickly became a buzzword in ad circles. But now, with a bombshell lawsuit hanging over everything, and allegations that the tech might not be theirs at all, the cracks in the empire are starting to show. Because if MNTN is just a slick rebranding of someone else's intellectual property, then suddenly, that brand we all fell in love with isn't about charm or genius, it's about bluffing. And the deeper you look, the harder it gets to separate the smile from the strategy. On May 23, 2024, just one day after MNTN officially went public, a bombshell lawsuit hit federal court. The plaintiff? A tech company called Intent IQ. The target? Ryan Reynolds' MNTN Inc. And this wasn't just a disgruntled competitor or a random copyright squabble. This was a major accusation, built on patents, federal filings, and years of courtroom wins against some of the biggest tech giants on the planet. Intent IQ isn't a household name, but inside the ad tech industry, they're known and feared. They claim ownership of core online tracking technology, the exact systems used to match ad performance with individual users across devices. We're talking about the backbone of most modern digital marketing. Their tech is so foundational that they've already filed and won lawsuits against Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, LinkedIn, Roku, Samsung, and more. In one case alone, a $122 million judgment was awarded against Amazon. After that, IntentIQ didn't just win in court. Many companies simply licensed the patent to avoid being sued. Meta, Microsoft, Comcast, Samsung, Freewheel, all of them now legally pay to use IntentIQ's system. Now here's where MNTN comes in, and why this lawsuit could destroy them. According to IntentIQ's legal team, MNTN is outright plagiarizing those exact patented systems. Not something inspired by them or accidentally similar. No. They claim the language, functionality, and even use cases are so nearly identical, it's almost copy-paste. IntentIQ's patent. U.S. Patent number 11,559,398 outlines a specific method for tracking users across devices by using electronic identifiers and Wi-Fi connection points. The lawsuit states that MNTN is promoting the same process under their so-called proprietary tech. In fact, MNTN's own marketing materials allegedly repeat parts of the patent's language nearly word for word, just with flashy branding layered over it. Here's a simplified version of what they're accusing MNTN of: taking someone else's invention, slapping a logo on top, and pretending it's a brilliant innovation they created from scratch. And the timing couldn't look worse, because MNTN filed their IPO, presented a confident Q2 earnings report, and pushed forward with investor optimism, while making zero mention of the filing. But the lawsuit was already moving. The stakes? IntentIQ isn't just asking for money. They want a permanent injunction stopping MNTN from using, selling, or promoting this tech. If a federal judge agrees, MNTN's core functionality could literally be shut down overnight. And it hits even harder when you remember that Reynolds has been the public face of this system. The guy who told us this tech was cutting edge, original, reinventing advertising. But behind closed doors, it might already belong to somebody else. This lawsuit doesn't just question the honesty of a company. It questions everything MNTN claims to be and how deep this illusion really goes. Here's where the story crosses from shady into dangerous. Just weeks after MNTN was hit with a massive federal lawsuit, the company held its first official earnings report as a newly public company. Q2 results, full of big smiles, strong numbers, clean charts. But there was one thing missing. Not a single word about the lawsuit from IntentIQ. Nothing. No slide, no mention, no disclosure. And that's not just a curious omission. It's one that could have serious legal consequences under SEC rules. See, when you're a public company, you're required to report any known legal threats that could potentially impact your business in a material way. Not just lawsuits you've lost. Even lawsuits in progress must be disclosed if they might affect your revenue stream, customer operations, or brand outlook. And IntentIQ's legal filing wasn't just a splashy headline. They're asking for an injunction that could fully block MNTN from using the very system they've built their entire identity on. That's not a footnote. That threatens the core of the company. So why didn't investors hear about it? According to court records, the complaint was filed on May 23rd, the very next day after MNTN's IPO went live. A lot of companies would have rushed to disclose the risk, maybe even issue a press release. Instead, MNTN published a Q2 investor presentation that highlighted their proprietary tech stack and how it gave them a competitive edge. That's their exact wording: proprietary tech stack. But if that tech is built on someone else's patent and they're already being sued for it, then calling it proprietary isn't just misleading. It could be fraud. Because think about the investors, the agencies, the small businesses buying into a product, believing it's a unique, Reynolds-backed system. If these people get blindsided, if the lawsuit moves forward and the tech gets shut down, who takes the hit? This isn't just about one court case. It's about trust being manipulated while profits rise. And that raises the biggest question of all. Was the silence strategic, or was it irresponsible? Because when celebrities become CEOs and marketing becomes myth, someone has to be the grown-up. And right now, nobody at MNTN is stepping up to explain what's really going on behind those glossy investor slides. So, what if MNTN loses? Let's not sugarcoat this. The consequences would be catastrophic. Intent IQ isn't just demanding money. They want the courts to grant an injunction, a legal order that would completely block MNTN from using, selling, or promoting the very system they've been bragging about for years. That means no more performance TV platform, no more audience targeting, no more attribution tracking or flexible APIs. Basically, they'd have to shut it all down or build a brand new system from scratch. And considering that MNTN markets itself as the solution for end-to-end ad performance, take away the tech, and what's left? A broken promise, wrapped in great PR. Now here's the kicker. We've seen this happen before. When Intent IQ sued Amazon, they didn't just go after a small tool. They hit at the core of how Amazon was tracking customers across devices. The court sided with Intent IQ in 2022, and Amazon was ordered to pay $122 million. Other companies like Meta and Samsung, they avoided the courtroom entirely and just started paying licensing fees to use the patent. Those companies had the cash to adjust. MNTN may not. And then there's the face of the company, Ryan Reynolds. For years, he's been hailed as the marketing guy who can do no wrong. The charming anti-corporate guy. His involvement was literally part of the sell. He wasn't just the spokesperson. He sat on the board. He shaped the messaging. He vouched for the product with his reputation. Can you imagine the damage to Ryan and Blake's pristine image if it all turns out to be based on stolen IP? It's not just investors who could walk away. Brands might pull their ads. Clients might scrap their campaigns. Trust could collapse overnight, all because the core was built on alleged infringement. Then there's Blake. She's not named in the lawsuit, but let's be real. They're a structure, a team. They've co-signed brands, appeared in joint interviews, joked about their family at investor events. If MNTN goes down, it hits both of them, at least publicly. And all this? For what? A system that might not even be theirs? If the court rules against them, there's no guarantee that paying a settlement will be enough. The damage might already be done. Because in marketing, once the illusion breaks, people don't forget. This story isn't just about one tech company possibly stealing a patent. It's about something deeper, something personal for a lot of people. Because Ryan Reynolds wasn't just selling products. He was selling trust. He made us laugh. He made corporate branding feel human. Like maybe not every marketing campaign had to be soulless. A gin company, a wireless service, an ad tech platform. He turned it all into something digestible, something cool, something people wanted to be part of. And people bought in, not just as consumers, but as fans. But now we have to ask, was that trust misused? When celebrities step into the world of business, serious business, they carry more than just their image. They carry influence. And when things go wrong, that influence can protect or mislead. That's why celebrity-run companies need to be held to the same, if not higher, standards. And if MNTN really built its entire product line on stolen tech and didn't tell investors when they were legally supposed to, that's not a marketing misstep. That's a betrayal. What do you think? Was this intentional? Should stars like Ryan and Blake speak up when the business they represent faces serious allegations? Let me know in the comments. I read every one of them. Thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time here, I'm Sabrina, and this is TLC Plathville News, where we talk about the stories most people are too afraid to touch. Celebrity, drama, truth without the sugarcoating. Make sure you like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications because we get into everything the headlines don't. Until next time, take care of yourself. And take a second look before you trust the brand on the billboard, even if there's a celebrity smile behind it.